Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Legal Environment of Business at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of feedback on the chapters 1 through 4 activities that I finished grading this morning. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities next week. Okay. First thing is the introduce yourself discussion that we had the first week of class last week. I thought that went very well. I really enjoyed meeting everyone, and so I thought that went really well. On the chapters 1 through 4 activities, like I said, I did finish grading those this morning. If you haven't already looked at your grades for those activities, go ahead and do that as soon as you can, and let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. If I did have to count any points off on anything, I tried to be very specific on why I was counting points off. So you should be able to get your questions answered from reading the grading comments. But if you do have questions after reading the grading comments, just let me know. Overall, most of you did well on the assignment for chapters 1 through 4. And I really appreciate those of you that are putting the time and effort in to complete the activities for this class. So keep up the good work on that. The chapters 1 through 4 discussion that we had regarding the ethical implications of retroactive liability, I thought that went very well. I really enjoyed reading everyone's viewpoints on that. These ethical considerations, when we look at business law, there's really no right or wrong answer. It's kind of, what you think is most fair in a situation where there may not be any true fair solution for everyone. In these cases, we have to do what's best for the general public. So I think hopefully you found that discussion enjoyable. I really enjoyed reading everyone's comments, and just like on the assignment, I really appreciate those of you that are putting the time and effort in to doing the work for this class. All right. The objective test that we took for chapters 1 through 4, most of you did well on that. Just as a reminder, you can take those tests as many times you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, I did notice on the chapters 1 through 4 activities, there were a couple of you that did not submit the activities for some reason. If you're having problems with completing the activities for this class, just let me know, and I'll be glad to help you any way I can. Hopefully, those of you that didn't get the first set of activities submitted on time will get back on track for the next set of activities. And that's what I want to tell you a little bit about. Also is the work that we've got coming up due next week for chapters 5 through 7. So if you look on the activities page in my Ozarka, right now we're on kind of the middle portion of week 2 of the semester. And of course we just had chapters 1 through 4 due last night. There's nothing else due this week, but there is work due next week. So we've got the chapters 5 through 7 activities, both basically the assignment, test, and discussion, all due by Thursday of next week, which is September 4th. Okay? So be working on those activities. The chapters 5 through 7 activities cover something that's extremely important in business law, which is contracts. Every business enters into contracts, various contracts like sales contracts, employment contracts, service contracts. And so we, as business people, need to understand what the laws are that concern contracts. And so that's what the chapters 5 through 7 are going to cover. They're at least going to give you an introduction to contracts. There'll be several other chapters that we'll cover later that will give you more specific information on contracts, but these first 3 chapters kind of just give you the kind of the framework for talking about contracts. Okay, specifically chapter 5 is where you're going to learn about the nature and classes of contracts, how contracts can be formed and so forth, what types of contracts are out there. Then we'll also, in chapter 6, we're going to look at offer and acceptance, which are 2 required things to have a valid contract. And then chapter 7, we'll learn about the capacity to contract. There are certain situations where someone may not have the capacity to contract. In other words, they may not legally be able to enter into a contract. That's true for some certain types of goods and services when we're looking at minors, those under the age of 18. And there are other situations too where someone may not have the capacity to enter into a contract. And when that happens, that contract could be voided. Okay, so that's chapters 5 through 7. So as you're working on those activities for chapters 5 through 7, just let me know. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. And that's really all I have for you for today. So enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and I will talk to you again sometime probably next week. Thank you.